Hi guys, I'm Ian and I'm the editor of JesusWired, and I'm here today to get to know the rock artist Frank Palangi. Say hello to everyone.
How you doing out there?
How's your day been so far?
Good. It's just starting, just getting up.
What time is it there?
It's almost 12.
Oh wow, the life of a rock artist, eh? The life of a rock artist.
Yep. Got up about an hour ago.
I like it. I like it. So, what do you love most about being a rock artist, other than the fact you can get up late?
I think it's a fact like you're your own boss, you know. It's nobody kind of tells you what to do with music and kind of where to go and the ability of I've been doing it full time now for about 8 or 10 years, so I really haven't had a regular job, and it's been like it's hard to describe. It's freeing and it's not freeing at the same time, you know.
Yeah. So what are the main kind of difficulties about it?
The amount of money you make, or the amount of time it takes to either to do, because I do everything, all the bookings, all the writing, all the recording. There's tons of practicing and learning and maintaining of equipment. The list just goes on. Social media takes forever, and it's and learning all the ways to market and all that kind of stuff. But in a way, it's good because you're in control of a lot of stuff, but you're your own maker. So you do or you die based off of what you do, unless you get other people involved and go from there. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the hardest part, is just I'm a one-man show.
Cool. So as you say, you're an indie artist, so you do everything yourself.
Yeah.
Was that a kind of personal choice of yours when you started, or have you just kind of fallen into it, or do you want to be signed?
I had to, so I kind of just learned from the ground up. And it was just before, it was still like in the MySpace era, if you remember MySpace, and Facebook was new, and I grew up with, YouTube and all this stuff happening. So now kids, I think they're just like, yeah, there's YouTube, there's all this technology, but it's weird, like growing up with it, and yeah, it's not easy. I mean, I'm not opposed to somebody jumping in and say either signing me or working with me somehow, but I always say it's got to be the right deal, and you got to stay yourself. You can't change into somebody else, and it just all depends.
Awesome. So you have this motto that you like to say to yourself of no plan B. What does that mean to you, and where did that come from?
It came from 10 years ago now. From my second, I made like these little demo CDs, and I made I think two or three of them, and it was just something, a quote. The full quote is I have no plans on backing down on my dreams, and I kind of shortened that to no plan B. It's kind of like it was a Tom Petty, you won't back down. It's just you're gonna do it. You're gonna do everything. You're gonna keep pounding through those doors. You're gonna keep going, and pretty much not stop. But it's a drive for me. It's because you got to have something driving you, because it's not easy at times. So you got to keep thinking. Okay, no plan B. Nope, no, I'm not gonna go back that way. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah. So on those tough days when it's hard to kind of just keep going, how do you keep going, and where do you get the strength to keep going from?
I'll listen to music, or I'll just pick up the guitar and start writing a song, or just playing. And sometimes it just goes away. Sometimes you got to be reminded of, throw the social media and the business stuff aside, and just be the artist again, and but even so, there's sometimes where I'm like, can I write a better song, or I'm like, I need to, I'm like writing the same stuff over and over again. But what takes is time and patience, and I'll kind of go away from it, then come back, and then it's almost like rethinking to yourself. All right, I'm going to get in this mode, and then this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. So it's very mental, and physically too. Like I grew up with some chronic illnesses and stuff like that. So it's sometimes physically you don't want to do it, or you're like, I want to play this gig, but I'm not 100%. So that kind of wears on you a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine that would. So as you mentioned, you've had these kind of medical things when you were younger. How have they kind of affected you mentally and physically for this? And
Um,
how have you used it for your benefit, as it were?
they've shaped pretty much who I am as a person and how I live like my lifestyle because I had to adjust. Growing up, I never could do sports and stuff, and I had to turn to other creative ways. You know, the creative outlet is, you know, I'm a big film guy and music guy, so those gave me outlets where I could do stuff and not, you know, get as sick or get injured and all that kind of stuff. Um, and it kept me out of trouble. Like I didn't go to parties. I just don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do anything. I'm pretty boring. I always say I go like soda is bad enough. I'm a soda connoisseur. um, but in a way, you know, it did keep me out of trouble, and it shaped, you know, along with my parents and stuff like that. It shaped who I am today. But there's certain limitations as far as, you know, I can't play a 3 hour gig every night singing wise. I just can't just because of it. So I do have to kind of schedule things and do things a certain way. And sometimes I'll say no to things that I absolutely want to do, but I'm like, it just, I know I'll get too busy. It'll wear me down. Then I'll be sick for 2 weeks and I won't be able to do anything, you know? So um, it's hard. When you think about touring and all that, sometimes you're playing 4 nights a week, you know, but in that case, you know, the sets are shorter. They're, you know, you open up for a band, you play in a half an hour. So
Yeah.
um, it all depends, you know.
Cool. So as you turn to these different creative arts, what was it about music that particularly attracted you?
It's the feeling, you know, it's the drive. It's like a raw, I don't know, like I like rock because there's like a raw kind of feeling in there that you just kind of burst. I don't know if it stems from adrenaline or what, but it's like
I hear you. I hear you.
I grew up with a lot of the 80s metal, so it was fast stuff, fast drums, fast guitar work. Everything was fast, you know. But then you had like melodic, um, you know, ballads and stuff, and I'm like, okay, these really fast, you know, metal bands are doing really, you know, nice, beautiful music. So between that and then you got the 90s, I really like 3 Days Grace. I like Daughtry. I grew up with Day of Fire and Pillar and Red. Trying to think. Decipher Down is good. I've been listening to them a lot lately. And, you know, a lot of the Christian rock stuff is you can do heavy rock, but then still be cool. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So it was fun. You know, I got to work with some of those guys too, so it was neat.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you've just mentioned Day of Fire, so can you kind of explain what kind of role one of their members has had in your career?
Yeah, I met Josh, the singer, at a concert, and I basically from there I handed him a demo, and I got to work with the whole band, which helped me kind of shape my first EP with their producer in Tennessee. So that was the point where I was like, all right, I got to get serious, and I have to really do this. Because up to that point, I was making all my own stuff. I really wasn't working with anybody. I was just playing out here and there. But this was like, you know, you're going to big studios in Nashville. You're working with Josh is a Grammy nominated, you know, artist. So it's like I wanted to be ready and serious and show him that, you know, this is who I am. And yeah, I mean, it was weird because Josh battled a lot with his demons with in the late 90s and stuff with Full Devil Jacket and drugs and all that. But then he, you know, he went clean and then he formed Day of Fire and all that. And that was a big inspiration to me. I'm still inspired to him. You know, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but now there's something about their style and his voice, and it just kind of clicked. And then the members of Pillar, I worked with Lester and Noah from Pillar, and I don't know, it's just the Christian rock guys. I always thought, because maybe hopefully that they didn't get into all the drug stuff. If for some reason the music is more richer and there's more content there, and it's more about the music and the lyrics. One, it doesn't lack one or the other.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I can definitely hear a bit of Day of Fire in your music. So who would you say is your kind of biggest music influence?
I would have to say Metallica if I were just to go with one.
Definitely. Okay. Who would you say are your general music influences?
Besides like 3 Days Grace, Daughtry, there's Little Godsmack, definitely Scott Stapp, Creed, a huge one, Ozzy, Rat, Def Leppard, Dokken. I think I said Red earlier. I really like Red. I like Little Hinder, kind of Saving Abel. You kind of have alternate rock bands. And then a little bit of, because I like movies, of Rob Zombie and Power Man 5000. Some of the movie soundtracks that had that real heavy kind of, I call it weird metal rock, because I still don't know what it is half the time. But for a horror movie background and stuff, Rob Zombie and those guys, their music fits that kind of stuff.
So would you ever consider like being a part of the movie soundtrack? Because it sounds like something that you would be really into.
Yeah, some indie scores I've done. I call them rock scores. I've done a couple of those. I've done, for my own movies I've made over the years, I've always done the music, whether it's original stuff or recreating like the Halloween theme or Terminator or whatever. And yeah, I would definitely. I'm always looking for, like, you want to do a guitar part or whatever, bass or backup vocal, or write something for a movie. Yeah, sure. I love it.
Right, well, movie directors out there, you know who to call. Call Frank. So where are you doing this interview from? Is this your home studio you're doing this from?
Yeah, yep. That's my home base as of now.
Cool. So I see a guitar, I see drums, and we obviously know that you can sing. So are there any other musical instruments that you play? And when did you first learn that you could do all the instruments?
Well, what happened was I jammed a lot of guys in high school, in middle school, and they'd leave their instruments at my house because it was easier. So I'd get on them, pick up, I'd start playing drums a little bit. I'd start playing bass and keyboard.
Do they know you did this, or they just learned this for the first time now?
I think so. I mean, we used to switch a little bit too, playing. Like, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to drum, you can play guitar. And the drummer wasn't that great on guitar, and I wasn't that great on drums, so it worked out. We just switched. But that's how it started, and then eventually I was like, all right, I'm really going to learn this stuff, because I think I can, like, from a composer background, write all of the music and all the instruments and really, like, get that. It's hard to say. It's like this thing I see and hear. It's like a picture. You know what you're going to draw, but now you have to get it, in audio form. So it helps a lot more if you know all the instruments and stuff. So that's how it started out. Yeah, so thanks to them for leaving all the instruments at my house.
and if you didn't know he used to play instruments, he says sorry.
Yeah. I don't think they'd care now. Whatever.
No. Well, earlier you mentioned that you've opened for some big national acts. Who's been the one that stood out for you?
My favorite show is Three Doors Down, because it was off their acoustic tour, and it was just me and them, and it was the first time where all the pressure was on me in front of all these people, just me and an acoustic guitar. Like, before I had an extra guitarist. I had a percussionist or something. It was just me, and I was on for almost an hour. So I was like, I really have to think of, how am I going to gauge the audience? How do I plan my set? How do I do this? And they were pretty cool, backstage. The first thing they asked me is if I wanted a shot. And I was like, no, I don't drink. And that led to, why don't you join us for the group prayer? He goes, before we go on stage. And I was like, all right, I'm not a member of the band, but okay. So they did it, right? Then they went to the stage, and I was like, I had to stop myself because I was like, no, not going out on stage.
I'm not a part of this band. I should probably stop.
Yeah, but it's cool though, because those type of shows, like I watch it from the side of the stage, like right there. So you're right on stage, sort of with them, and you learn a lot. You really do.
Cool. What's your favorite thing about performing on stage? And how long did it take you to kind of get a hold of your act?
It doesn't take me long to make a set list or kind of visualize. I think I've done it enough where I can kind of visualize what kind of works and what songs would flow into each other, and this song kind of will get the audience up, and this song will maybe a slower song will reach them in certain ways. And it really does depend on your audience. It really does, because certain times you're thrown out of your element and you're like, it's a great song, but I can't really do this for this show, and it just won't connect, but it doesn't. It comes fairly easy. Sometimes I'm stumped on like 2 songs or something. Where do I put them? That kind of thing. But I don't know. It's all like, I'm a very organized type person, so it's kind of just all organization stuff up there.
Cool. So from when you first released your first EP back in 2011, how would you kind of say that you've grown as an artist since then? And what have you learned along the way that has kind of made you a better artist now?
I think the one thing is working with these the guys that influence you. Working with artists that have been on the road, that have done this stuff. You learn so much, and from their producers, because I'm in the audio mixing type stuff as well. So it's you got to keep your eye on everything. And from the first EP working in Nashville in person, doing everything in the studio, to the second EP was totally opposite. It was working digital. We never met each other at all. So that was entirely new. And then kind of doing cross mixes where it's like maybe the drummer will send you like how I do it now is the drummer will do the drums somewhere, but then the rest of us will get together and work on the rest of it, so it's like seeing both sides of the coin type thing. But it really has helped, immensely. And then practice. You just got to keep practicing, and you got to keep you got to have the time to fool around with all this stuff, and understand how it works. And but I think musically, like my songwriting has developed more into a story, less basic kind of lyrics and stuff like that. My first EP was good, but it was kind of basic as well. So I've been trying to dive into a little more specific, a little bit.
So how long each day do you spend practicing?
It depends what I'm doing. Really, now it's more about the song and the audio production, what's going on. Like, I don't practice guitar a lot anymore because I play out so much that it just kind of, if I learn a new song, I'll practice it, but I'm not there kind of, honing my guitar skills and making them and learning a lot of things. I just don't have a lot of time for that. But I'll spend an hour on drums. The only time I play bass is when I record, and guitar stuff, every time you record, you learn something new, because it's like you can play all these riffs a certain way and you're like, that's the song, that's rocking. And all of a sudden you're playing it to the click and the drums and you're like, wow, that sounds really muddy. You know, I can't do the chugs there. I gotta make it simpler. You know, I gotta rearrange some stuff. So I think it's weird to say, but I think recording has made me a better guitarist as far as um, you know, playing on tempo and being tight and just playing around with different ideas, you know.
Cool, cool. So you recently performed the national anthem as a guitar solo at the DCU Arena. How did that come about, and how did it go?
Oh, it was amazing. It was awesome. The feeling that came over me was like, it's hard to describe. I don't know if it was all from the adrenaline. A few people are asking, but I was like, I felt like I was going to pass out like right after it. Like the second I was done, I was like, oh my God. Because it's a lot of pressure. You know, you have everybody listening to you, but then you have all the veterans and stuff out there, and you have everybody with the flags, and it's like, all right. You know, what's funny though is I practiced it for 3 months, and I never got it 100% right. I'd always like, I don't know, it's weird to say, like not miss a note, but do something wrong with one note. That was the only time where I had played it perfect, and that's what it mattered.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, do you suffer from butterflies before you start performing, for whenever you're on tour or anything, or and if you do, how do you get past them?
You mean like stage fright, sort of, or
Yes, yeah, stage fright kind of thing.
um, not really. I get it excited because I want to do it, and it makes me a little nervous. But I think that's what pumps the adrenaline in you, and it brings you on another level. Because if I were to do it here, just sitting down, it wouldn't even feel like how you do it live. I think it's a lot of factors, but I don't anymore. I did a little bit starting out, but I was always like, get me on that stage. I can be that guy. I can play on that stage. I know I can, and I'm not gonna screw it up. And if I do, nobody will know. I just keep going, you know?
That's awesome. The childlike glee in you just then was just amazing. I love that. I love that so much. So we're not really here to talk about your music today. We'll do that another time. But we're just trying to get to know you. But I do want to ask you about one of your songs,
Hmm.
which is your most recent main single, "Set Me Free." Has a kind of message about it with where you are with your music. Could you just kind of describe the message behind that song and video?
Yeah, I mean, the song has a different message than the music video. The music video is a little bit of a stab at the industry of you're signing your life away, you know, with a contract that they will take control of you 100%, and you have no say. You know, in the music video, they're even playing guitar for me on the stage a little bit, that one clip, and they're drowning me and all that kind of stuff. And it's all metaphoric, but I've heard these stories and stuff that are actually like that, where these bands and stuff sign deals and they take over their lives and all of that. And that's where the song stems from. But it's also about standing up for yourself. Like I mentioned, being thrown in the dirt. You know, there's always times like growing up being bullied and being picked on and being in situations that, you know, you can't have control, you know, or you can't do anything about it. So it's the ability of that whole EP is basically about to rise, you know, like to rise up. You know, you have to break these chains. You have to um
I see what you did there.
yeah, you know, you got to do better. You know, it's all about getting better. You know, it's about not being like, you know, typecast as a typical rocker, or, you know, stand up for what you believe in, all that kind of stuff. So it's a
Awesome.
lot more faith driven than a lot of people think, you know. But for the ones that don't pay attention, they're never gonna really know. Let's be honest.
That's fair enough. So as you just mentioned, you obviously have a faith and what have you. You don't want it to be kind of a massively obvious in your music. Was that a conscious decision when you started, or or has it just kind of happened that way?
It was kind of both, to be honest. I wanted to. Creed was an influence of, they're really a Christian rock band. Like, you listen to their music, or religious. There's a lot of religious stuff, and I kind of wanted to ride that same line because I still feel like it's too segregated as far as like you either got to be a Christian artist or you got to be a rock artist and be like Motley Crue and party your ass off. And I go, no, I don't. No. I can be that middle guy.
Yeah. Stand on your own, break the stereotypes.
Yeah, I mean, why can't you? Especially because I'm a solo artist. I'm not a band. If I was like a Creed, maybe you can't. But as a solo artist, you can. I just feel like I'm in control of my own music, so it's like Hope is a Christian rock song. Like, I set out saying that this is going to be a Christian rock song for that purpose, where my other songs are reaching out to people that necessarily aren't paying attention to all the face stuff, and maybe it'll impact their lives somehow. But then the people that are, they know it, they see it, hopefully they can feel it, that sort of thing. Because it's weird. I've had people come up to me that are atheists, or they say they're atheists. They don't believe in anything. And they're like, something about that song just reached me. I don't know. I feel like better about something. And I go, maybe that says something.
Maybe it's that thing you don't believe in.
Yeah.
Well, as we kind of wind this interview down, let's just spend the time getting to know who you are as a person. So what's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Okay, that leads into my next question: does pineapple belong on a pizza?
No, I don't like pineapple on a pizza.
We're done here. Right, that's it. We're done. Lost all respect for you. So what's the most embarrassing album that you own and that you love?
I really like the Black Album from Metallica. I like No More Tears from Ozzy. I like Day of Fire's first record a lot. I like my favorite Daughtry record, I think, is the third one, but I really like the first one too. There's certain my favorite records, I think, are the stuff that I will hop on the drum set and always just kind of drum to it. Like, that's what I'll be practicing to. And then there's some 3 Days Grace. Like, I really like the third record. I think it's called Life Starts Now. And there's certain reasons, some of it I like the production, but some of it I like the songwriting more, or it could be the guitar. It's not always one thing that inspires me. So
awesome. Is there a specific Bible verse that's played a big role in your life?
I'm not big on like the traditional type stuff, put it that way. So I don't really know, to be honest. It just kind of it's more of a faith thing for me. Put it that, I'm not a traditional one to sit down and really kind of read and get into specifics with that. It's kind of I'm a very feeling type person. So
okay, yeah, I feel you on that. Sorry, that was really late.
I know what you mean.
I'd be remiss to be talking to you after you've mentioned movies and how much you like them to not ask you what your favorite movie is.
Ooh. Well, it's a toss up. You got Terminator 2. They're kind of like one movie. T1 and T2 are one movie. Then you got Halloween for the horror movies. So those are my two favorite. And if I had to go with the third, it's RoboCop all the way.
I was not expecting that one after those first two. I like it. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
No problem. I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure getting to know you, shall we say. So this was a kind of getting to know you interview. So that kind of maybe means that there's new music on the way, because we're kind of maybe planning a new music interview at some point. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
It will be the 4th EP. It'll be rock and roll, you know, hard rock.
It'll be a rock and roll EP by yourself, and it's your 4th one.
Yeah, it's in production now, 2019. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, that's a bit more information. That's good. We can work with that.
All right.
Well, we definitely look forward to getting to know you a bit more in 2019 and talk about your new music.
Definitely.
Where can people get plugged into you online?
You go to frankpalangi.com, or if you want to Google, I use Yahoo. I'm like the only one on the earth that uses Yahoo. But you can Google my name, find me on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, all the social media sites, everywhere you guys are at, except for Snapchat. I am not on Snapchat.
What? Why aren't you on Snapchat?
I'm not a big phone guy, you know. No.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't like Snapchat either, so it's fine. Well, we thank Frank for taking the time to talk to us today, and go and get plugged into his website and social medias and stuff, and look out for that 4th EP from Frank Palangi. It'll be rock, surprisingly, and it's coming out next year, and we look forward to chatting to you again next year.
Me too. I appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate you guys covering some of my past releases too.
No worries. I'm sure we can cover some future ones too.
Sounds good.
God bless. Peace.
See you guys.